How we doing?
Good.
You weren't supposed to answer that. That was for our
Oh, I'm sorry.
myriads of fans that are watching this.
Yeah.
Well, here we are, long awaited, and greatly anticipated ride with Mr. John Trager. We are heading on to Highway 14, or what's also known as Commercial Street, Mazomanie, and we're going to be heading down toward the Lions Club Park and picking up John Trager for a ride. We'll see what happens. As we always are, we're off the cuff, and we're going to see what happens with John, and we'll take him around Mazo. I don't know of too many people that have more knowledge and are more integrated into Mazo over the last many decades than John Trager. So looking forward to riding along with him and just seeing where the road takes us.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
I like that.
You've heard of comedians in cars getting coffee? Well, this is ride along with John Trager.
This is the ride with John
The
Trager.
ride, yep. Yep. So we're pulling off to Walter Road here. That's where John lives.
There's the new,
Quick
that's
Bill.
going to be Velocity right there.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that. Looking forward.
Supposedly September of 2023, that's coming. And Wick Building to our right, Kroger off to our left.
I should have gotten that. I didn't really
That's
pan, but
That's no problem.
I'm looking forward to this. One, because I don't think I've really ever met John, but also, like you said, this podcast has been a learning experience for me.
Yeah.
As we've kind of grown to see the Mazomanie downtown and such become a little bit more lively now.
Mm-hmm.
And John was part of that the first time, or earlier on, and
Yeah.
get to hear more stories about it. So, shall be enlightening.
Okay. I'll just go up there, and we're a couple minutes early. Let's see if he's ready to go.
Let's see, you're 62 then.
I'm 63 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ellen and I graduated the same year. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my memories that I was short here.
I hear you. Yeah.
Well, I'll quick gobble this up and I'll
Don't
go
worry.
in there.
Don't worry.
That newspaper clipping, that was the picture that they had on What's Happening Mazo on Facebook of your...
Oh, this one right here.
Yes,
See that, John?
that was the picture. They had all sorts of comments and likes about you and your store and everything like that.
Well, these are started out to be my Hall of Fame and shame.
Hall of
And
Fame.
now they're mixed a little bit.
Yeah.
But some of these, as you can see, were saved from the flood. They
Oh.
were in my office. And they're just interesting things. That dog I loved that we had forever up there, I'm a dog lover, Pepsi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pepsi. I remember Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Yeah.
What kind of dog was that?
It was a mutt.
A mutt. Okay.
Yeah, one of its features was it licked herding, so it was I forget what kind do that or so good at.
Australian Shepherds or something, is it?
Yeah, I
Sheepdog?
forgot what it was.
Yeah.
And then the Enola Gay up there. You see that?
Right up here?
Yeah.
Oh, taken by Bill Schmidt. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He was on the ground crew on that on the Salmon Islands.
You were in the Army.
Yeah.
I read your book.
Okay.
I'm about 3/4 of the way through it, and I
Okay.
want to tell you, this is my thinking on your book. It is very informative. It's blunt, and it's sincere, and it's very funny. It's very funny. I don't think it's just because I know you and I know your family and I know a little bit of your history. It's funny how you write. You write very well.
Well, you read about the author, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
You read that?
Dad's been reading us the book.
Yeah. Do not expect too much, as while taking a no-credit English class at UW Wisconsin in 1953, we were asked to write a short story, 100 words or less about any subject of our choice. When it was time to be graded, I met with the professor who said writing was not for everyone, and I should find something else to spend my time on. Good advice. And then you have some disclaimers. But before we go on our ride, I did want to just read this one part. And this is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That it's blunt, it's real, it's sincere, but it's also funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you meant this to be funny, but it was funny to me. Because people don't write this way because they're trying to sell the next book. Where I don't think you're trying to sell any books or sell...
But I'm writing a pamphlet now.
Oh, good.
So,
Good. Well, this says, this is chapter 1, Growing Up and People Who Helped Raise Me. Just one paragraph. And this was hilarious. When I was 3, not this part obviously, when I was 3 my father died. I had a sister 5 years older than me and my mother to take care of me. The day after they buried my dad, all the other help started to arrive. My mother's sisters, Louise and Hilda, were the first, followed by my father's sister Anna. They made sure they were needed and made it clear that my mother was not capable of raising a family and running a household. Soon after, my mother's aged mother came to live with us. During the school year, we also had a teacher rooming with us. I don't even remember where we all slept. And then you say, one of the biggest problems with the help was that none of them liked each other.
yeah, and that was so true.
I think that's just hilarious. Because people don't write that. They have to say everything you know, so like I said, you can sell the next book.
Well, this, from chapter 1 to 9, I sat down and things just flowed from my mind to the keyboard to the paper. Then I lost that skill. And I had I guess what they call a writer's cramp. And I tried from chapter 9 to the end to work on things, but it wasn't as good.
Oh,
It just didn't.
you mean it didn't flow as well?
No.
I see. I see. And how long did it take you to write your autobiography?
Well, it took a couple years because I
did?
took a sabbatical a couple times.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to run in and see what I can do with the restroom.
Okay.
Okay.
And I wish I had some more coffee for you.
No.
but I don't.
No. We will. We'll wait patiently. No hurry. No hurry at all.
In the home where I was born.
That would be wonderful.
And then when I was first married,
Yeah.
log house
Yeah.
and what have
Yeah.
you.
Would you kind of maybe you can take us on the places that you lived in?
Yep.
And then
okay.
we can talk about the places that maybe you owned and rented the
Okay.
properties, and then we can talk about businesses and
Okay.
such. Does that sound okay?
That sounds like a good
Look
place
at
to
that.
start.
I mean, we're just our own bosses here, which is kind of fun. You've been your own boss for many years.
So we'll go this way.
Yep. Is the log cabin the one that you owned and rented then for a while?
Yeah.
That's where you were born?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I wasn't born there. I'll
Oh,
show
you
where
weren't?
we were
Okay.
born.
Okay. All right.
Turn right here.
All right. So now we're going down Hudson Street.
Yep.
This all here was just farm country when you
Yep.
were growing
Oh,
up,
yeah,
wasn't
that
it?
was it.
This was
Big Cy Jordan's farm was right there.
Cy Jordan, not Gaylord Knights, huh?
Well, after that it was Gaylord.
Gaylords, okay. Here's where the Walterses lived,
Yep.
Ralph and Sadie.
Yep.
Okay.
And just a couple blocks here on the left end. That's where I was born, and I'll tell you when we get up there where to turn.
Yeah.
And that house that we're going to see was built in 1924. Another block.
Oh, another block, okay.
Yep. And my sister came along this house right here.
Okay, and this is where your mother lived for many,
Right,
many years.
Many,
On the left here? This
Yep.
one?
Yep.
And I was born and raised there. I went in the army and came back there and lived with my mother a little bit.
Now, John, as we turn the corner
Yep.
here and continue to look at this house here, your father passed away when you were 3 years old.
Yeah, 1934.
1934, and did your mother, was your mother teaching? Because she was a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
Even when I was in school,
Yeah.
which was
She
amazing.
was teaching. She kept the confectionery store my dad had all those years,
Okay.
and so she was a busy person.
Your-
She loved the Greyhound.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that. Your mother would teach piano lessons to a whole slew of
Oh
people.
goodness!
I remember my older brother Tim. He was a fantastic pianist. It still is, and he took lessons from your mother, and I thought, boy, if I could learn to play like Tim, that would be great. Well, guess what? The first day I signed up to go to, it was a Monday morning. The first time I went to sign up for piano lessons, Marty Kramer, who was the gym teacher and basketball coach, had open gym. That he started it the same day, and I was torn. And I never took the piano lessons. Your poor mother had one bad student, and that was me. So what else do you remember? I mean, so many memories
Oh,
there,
a lot
John.
of that.
How long did you live there? You lived there growing up, and then when did you? Was it when you got married that you
Yeah.
finally moved out?
Yeah.
Okay. But you went away to the service in what year?
I was drafted in the Korean conflict. And I was
Okay.
always glad it was a conflict because that sounded
Better than the war.
less like to get it killed than if it was a war. And that was in 1951.
Okay.
And I got out in 1953. And I lived here after I got out with my mother for a while till I met my wife.
Yeah.
And I didn't move very far. In fact, I've only moved 4 blocks in 92 years.
Oh, wow. Well, so this house was built in 24, you said?
1924. Yeah.
1924. Did your parents build it?
My dad built it.
He did. Did
Yeah.
he build it himself, or did he have
No,
somebody
he had
build it?
somebody
He
build
had
it,
somebody
yeah.
build it. Okay.
He ran a confectionery store.
Yeah. Well, are you the type of person? So you've owned so many properties, apartment buildings, houses, and you've lived in some houses. Was that hard? Because Kendall lived there then, right? For
Well, yeah,
some
we
years.
could go continue on. I can show you where we lived.
Okay.
If you make the next left up here,
Okay. I was going to ask, is that
And this-
hard? Go ahead. Sorry.
the school was here,
Okay.
and I walked to school every day.
Oh boy, that was a chore, wasn't
Turn
it? Was
left.
it? Oh, turn left. Okay. Was it uphill both ways, like
Yeah,
most
in the
parents?
snow.
You're in the snow. So was the old building there? Obviously, the old school and K through
Oldest,
12.
yeah, original one.
Did you go to school when you were in kindergarten or first grade?
Actually, I went to kindergarten here, and then I went to kindergarten in Platteville again.
Oh, why Platteville?
Well, because I was pretty much farmed out.
Because of the passing of your dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mother's sisters raised me and what
Uh-huh.
have you. So, then if we turn right here, we'll go to the second place. And this has sort of an interesting history.
Now we're going down John Street,
Yeah.
which is appropriate.
Yeah.
Not named after you, I don't think, right?
No, not at the time. Here,
Right here, Dad.
down here.
Yeah.
Okay, that has sort of an interesting history.
Yeah.
That was built in 1931. It has a poured foundation,
Okay.
and my mother bought that in the old days before the government was going to solve all our problems socially and economically. Social, like somebody said, as Margaret Thatcher, I think, said, socialism works real good till you run out of money.
That's a good point.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Anyway, when you became unable to pay your bills, you went to the county and you gave them your house,
Oh.
and then they paid your bills.
Mm.
And when you died, then they owned the house.
I see. Okay.
And my mother bought this house from, I don't know what proceeds, for $1,000 from the pension department.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I bought it from her for $2,500.
Wow.
Now this is an inflation story built right into economics here. When I sold that house, I sold a group of 5 houses to Helversons,
Okay.
but I gave them all a value,
Okay.
and that was $45,000.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Then it sold for $72,000.
Really? Wow.
And you know who that was, but I can't think of his name.
Steve Moe?
Steve Moe.
Yep.
And then he sold it for $77,000.
Just keeps going up.
It's
huh?
the same place.
Yeah.
There's a lot of refinements,
Yeah.
you know. Like,
Yeah.
when we lived there, we had what they call the space heater.
Yeah. Okay.
And we lived here till Ellen was a little over a year old, because she learned that the space heater was hot.
Yeah, I suppose. So you lived with your mother till what year were you married, Haya?
Jeez,
Was that 50?
I got a mental block.
That's okay.
58 was it? No. I just can't think.
No problem.
You
There's a lot of
said,
memories.
you said you came home from the Korean conflict in 93.
No, 53.
53, sorry, not 93.
Yeah.
That would have been a long
That would've been
conflict.
a long service if you
Yeah.
served till then.
Yeah.
But you lived here for how many years, John? Do you remember?
Just probably a year and a half.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. So Ellen was a small baby.
Yeah, Ellen was a baby.
Okay. And I was going to ask you another question about this house. So your mother bought this, then you bought it from her and
Yeah.
lived there, and then you sold it to somebody else and moved to another spot. Well, the question I had for you, even back at your mother's house, you know, I know that after your mother passed away, then I don't know if you owned it or the family owned it, but Kendall lived there for a while.
Yeah.
Are you just kind of a practical businessman inside, or do those have? Was that hard to sell? You know, those
No,
homes.
not
Wasn't
really.
hard.
No, the only thing I've ever had that I owned that I sold was the grocery store in Mazo.
Mm,
And I was sad about that because he wasn't good to my people.
yeah, I read about that in your book.
He, and I was sad about that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, anything else I ever sold was strictly an economic thing.
Okay. So it wasn't so much even the selling of Traeger's grocery store wasn't so much the sadness of getting out of the business. It was just
No.
that the employees weren't treated the way
Yeah.
you treated. And I heard so many people in that post, John, that we were talking about in What's Happening Mazo Facebook. There's a picture of Traeger's. I think it says Surefine on it.
Yeah.
And there were 151 posts in just a couple of days. That means that people connected. Most of the times those, get a few comments, but people commented over and over and over again. And there were so many people that said, oh, he treated us so well.
Well,
we really enjoyed working for John.
I had wonderful contrast to people today. I had wonderful employees.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
The only ones that were a little disappointing, I mean, some people were with me for 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
The meat men were a little different. Like, somebody would call from the Prairie store and say, Sink to my trunk again, and they'd tear it, so I'd have to go up and cut meat.
Oh, tough.
So I cut a lot of meat in my day.
You were always you became the butcher, huh? The meat,
Yeah.
the meat cutter.
Till I got a new one, or he got out of jail.
Oh, no.
Well, we can go down this way, and I can tell you a quick little story
Yeah.
about that house on the right here.
You mean this one straight ahead
Yeah.
here? Okay, I'm gonna just wave this guy on. Okay, so this little, is that like a, what kind of a house is that? Is that
That is
a
a
double
double
wide?
wide.
Okay,
And it was the second double wide that John Wick ever made.
It was, okay. In Marshfield, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they hauled that down here.
That's where that was.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. I knew you were friends with John Wick, and we're talking about not the movie guy that shoots
Yeah,
people up, but
right.
the guy that rides his bike down still. I didn't know, but you were kind of in business with him sometimes,
Well,
right?
he and I owned the farm together.
Off of Siegebrecht?
Yep,
Okay.
for a lot of years.
Okay.
But when we drive around this way, then we'll drive around. Well, no, let's turn here as long as
Okay.
we
Turn right.
Yeah.
I'm glad Mazo still isn't too busy. We've had 2 people have to pass us.
Oh, that many.
They're in a hurry to get somewhere in Mazo.
Oh well.
All right, turn left here now.
We're back by the school. What street is this, Dad?
This should be Jane
It's
Street.
Henry Street. We're on Henry.
Oh,
right
Henry
now.
Street here, and then this is Jane. We're
This is
turning.
on Jane. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now this house right here,
Yep.
I bought that one day.
The little blue one.
Right here, this house.
Yep.
Now, a fella, his name was Paulie,
Okay.
owned this, only he was way behind on the mortgage
Okay.
at the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And I overheard Norm Scheideman nail him in the store about it. And anyway, a conversation went on, and Karen Walter, remember her?
Sure. Yeah. Phoebe's.
She was the high school girl that was with me running the store on that 4th of July. Anyway, I said, what will it take to get out of this? It's $1,500.
Really.
Wow.
So we left Karen at run the grocery store and we went over to the bank, and I bought that for $1,500. Then, and tax time came, I went to the village and bitched because they charged me for an extra lot
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Oh no, they said that went with this.
That was a good surprise.
Yeah.
Which lot was it?
The one with the house and back, the double wide.
Oh, I see. Okay, and then you put the double wide on there.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Have you ever had something like that happen before, or
Oh,
after?
yeah.
A big surprise like that?
Yeah, I've had some one of the properties I bought on the telephone, and I just didn't remember it as it was, and I had the fire department to burn it down. That's another story. We'll go by that way if
Sounds
you're
good.
interested.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll go down this way then.
Now, John, just one other quick story how our lives have integrated. In 1988, my wife and I and our oldest son moved back from Michigan, and I worked for you. Remember that terrible time in
Yeah.
your life when
Yeah.
I worked that one summer?
That
for
was
you? It
you were
the
one of
drought
those
year. It
employees
was
that
the
he was
drought
talking
year.
about,
Yeah.
Dad.
And it was so hot, and I helped do something in this house. I did some work on the log cabin, and then I
Yeah.
did some work on your house down on right by the park.
Yeah.
The house.
I
and
remember that year.
and that was probably one of those. I was probably one of those employees that you had to. It was fortunate I quit in the fall because you were just ready to give me a pink slip. I think. John was just such a great employer. He really was. He was so nice to me, and I was also working that summer just picking up odd jobs for John and Helen Wick. And when I tell people that I was kind of a handyman that summer, they all laugh at me because they know how handy I am. I'm terrible at stuff like that. So you were in charity back then. You didn't even know it. You were paying me in a charitable organization.
John was being the government to
Well,
you.
Ryan Stewart lived here.
Yeah, Roy Stewart. Yeah, the old postman.
And then this house, well, I lived in that house across the street.
Let's look at this one first, and you
Okay.
can tell us, and then we'll back up and take a look at this house. Because I forgot that you lived here, but then when I read your book, I remembered that your family. I think Kendall brought home to this house then too, or do you remember?
Yeah, Kendall was born in this house.
Okay. And then you sold this to Will and Be Kind.
Yep.
And they lived there for many years as he taught and
Yep.
coached and stuff like that in the high school.
I think I sold them that, if I can recall, for $14,000.
Do you remember what year that was? Any idea? What year did you build that house that we'll look at in a second?
Well, that's the same one, the same year.
Oh, okay.
I can't think.
Well,
I should have some reference points.
no, you're fine. You're fine, and maybe those things will come back to you as we drive.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to spin back the tape in your memory, don't you?
Yeah.
There's lots of things that have happened. Do you have any idea how many years you lived here, off the top of your head, or just generally speaking?
Well, I remembered we got Peary when we lived here,
You did, okay.
and we had to have a bigger house than I said
Mm-hmm.
because we had another child,
Yeah.
and we sold this house to people with 7 people.
7 people.
They
yeah.
made it work.
And you moved here for 5 people, huh?
Yeah, here.
So we're gonna turn here.
Kendall is now,
Yep.
and we had that for 43 years, I believe,
Wow.
and Kendall is there now.
That was a nice house. I was in there multiple times because I went to school with Ellen, and so you guys would open your doors sometimes to hooligans.
Dodgy
Yeah.
characters.
So you lived there 43 years.
Yeah, that I remember.
Wow. That's amazing.
And as I said, I've only moved 4 blocks
Yeah.
in 92 years.
So John, let me just, while we're sitting here looking at the park, the Lions Club Park, do you have any idea, was that, when you moved into this yellow house back
Yeah.
here, you didn't build that house, did you?
Yeah, Harold
did-
Bealow.
Harold Bulow built that, and was this? I think this park started in like '65 or '66.
Well, when we lived here, it wasn't a park right away.
What was it?
A
Farmland?
cornfield.
Cornfield.
Mm.
Okay.
And the Lions Club bought 14 acres here
Okay.
for $700 from Royston's.
Oh, from Royston's.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jerry McDonald, do you remember that name?
I don't.
Mervyn McDonald.
That. Oh, that they live just
Yeah.
down here.
Yeah.
Yep. Mervyn and.
Yeah, their son worked for Coldest Hardware
Okay.
for Bill Kennedy, and we bought a lawnmower, and he diligently turned it in the cornfield into by rolling it once to get the hills down,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and really turned it into the first stage of the park here.
Yeah.
There's actually 3 stages to the park.
Yeah. So the first one was some equipment and the ball field. Was that the first
Yep.
stage?
Yeah.
And one of the shelters. The first shelter
The
was
first
that.
shelter,
Okay, I
yeah.
think I remember that as a kid.
Yeah,
And then what was the second stage?
It's called the John Wick edition.
Oh, okay.
Not John Wick, John Schwartz.
John Schwartz. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he was a wonderful citizen. You know, I didn't have a father to take me places,
Mm.
and he'd take me to Boy Scout camp along
Really?
with people. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
very, very, very gracious and dedicated to him.
Huh.
Nice person.
Very nice. Yeah. 1968 was when they built the pool.
Yeah.
And so I was always envious of people like yourself and your kids that you were so close to the pool. But there were probably drawbacks too. I mean, there were ball games. Did you like that? I mean, they had softball games down
Oh,
here till
yeah.
all hours of the night.
One of the things Haya was, when we got married, now this is, in today's society, this would be thought of as a derogatory thing, but she wanted to be a mother and a housewife.
Mhm.
I say today, you
Yeah.
know, if you don't want to be an airplane pilot or something,
We hear
a
you.
brain surgeon, a
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of how that evolved, and I ran the fireworks for 43 years, and I started them over here. I think that's in the book.
It is, okay.
Yeah, that
You started them over here behind your house or something?
no, I started them shooting across the street,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, and
Not as many regulations back then, or?
well, I made my own. Anyway, the second or third year, I forgot that I did it. I paid for it myself
Oh,
from the store.
okay.
And Doc Beckham,
Oh, yeah.
a bunch of people took up a little collection. And that year they got more money than I spent.
Oh, nice.
So I thought, well, this is going to. I was president of the Lions Club that year, and this will make a good Lions Club project.
Mm-hmm.
So it did. It was in and out of the Lions. There were some people so dedicated against. He said shooting money up in the air.
Oh, I see.
So
yeah.
there was you always need a villain. So he didn't like my fireworks.
Because waste of money because you're not really getting anything
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
But people still look at. I mean, they love those fireworks. They
Well,
look forward
when
to
we
it.
had them down here, it's a different world before they invented the term the electric match.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think it's in the book or the pamphlet. I'm not sure,
Uh-huh.
but it took a lot of people to run the fireworks.
Okay.
We dug in 4 different size holes, and we needed 4 people for each hole.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Huh.
A cleaner, a stuffer, a handler, and a lighter.
It's almost like shooting off a cannon or something.
Yeah, and I ran it just like Adolf Hitler.
Wasn't it? You were the dictator? Or
Yeah,
what?
absolutely.
Did you have a hard hat on? I mean, was there
No,
ever? Were you ever in
I don't think we ever
danger?
had any uniforms or nothing.
Were you ever in danger?
It was always in danger.
Okay.
Some people got hurt
Really?
on occasion, and some people lost their hearing on occasion. So two of my son-in-laws never really forgave me because I helped got them. But when I started it, we had a ground thing where we had a person shoot an arrow through the air that was lit on fire, and great ground displays.
Really?
Yeah, that people
That
loved.
you actually had to shoot an arrow through?
It was on a string
Yeah.
with
okay.
a fire, fire following it, and we had a series of those. Ron Kerr, you know Ron,
Yeah.
he took care of the ground displays. Kimball took care of the shoot 'em up ones. So we had a good team going. That was before the electric match.
Yeah. Which is.
Now they come in crates,
Yeah.
and there's a radio tune on one end of it. When they want to shoot 'em up, they push the button.
Yeah.
So it's safer,
Yeah.
much safer.
Yeah. You were invested, financially invested, physically, and with your physical safety too.
Well, I paid for them every year myself.
Yeah.
And
To what year do you remember? I mean, what year did they start? Did you?
I think that's in the book. I don't
Okay.
recall.
But you did it for 43 years.
Yeah. Then I passed it on to he worked. He doesn't work for the village. He's there. What's his name?
Is he the village comptroller?
Administrator.
Okay, Peter Hebner.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought he would be a good person
Yeah.
because he was the valedictorian, and he also got along with people because he delivered coffee to
Oh yeah, yeah,
farmers for
yeah.
12 years. So they hurt his back.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't involved in anything civically, so nobody was pissed off at him yet.
Yeah.
So anyway, I felt he'd be a good one.
Yeah.
And I never heard from him.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Ah.
And his wife took over.
Oh, okay. Candace.
And got pretty much funding from companies
Okay.
rather than relying on
Yeah.
collections.
Got it. Okay.
So anyway, it was a different era.
Yeah.
And,
I don't think people know that you started, kind of started the fireworks in
Yeah.
Mazo because they're a big deal.
Well, they still are. I'm
Yeah.
proud of my getting them started.
Yeah. And John, one quick question as we drive down Park Street here. I tried to figure out, because I was born in '60, and so my memory doesn't serve me very well for. I've heard that the park was started in '65 or '66, but was there a street here? This wasn't always called Park Street because there wasn't a street here.
I forgot what the name of it was.
But was there a street
There's
here
a
or
street
a road
here.
or something?
Yeah, but it was a gravel one.
It was,
at
okay.
that time.
So all the streets to the left of us here, like Henry and
Some of
Ann and
those
stuff,
were new.
those were new. Okay.